Hi, this is Chris, and we are taking a look here in section 4 of SAT Practice Test 5 at questions 23 and 24, which refer to the scenario described over here. So both questions are going to refer to this table of information and the following text. It says the Townsend Realty Group invested in 5 different properties listed in the table above. The table shows the amount in dollars the company paid for each property and the corresponding monthly rental price in dollars the company charges for the property at each of the 5 locations. Now for question 23, this is a very common structure for your answer choices when given information in a table. So without even reading the text of 23, we want to be anticipating what they're asking, which is likely to be the case of, hey, which one of these equations represents this relationship that you have for these data points in the table? So let's see if that's the case, but that's something that we want to be aware of or expecting in terms of answer choice structure. When you see a bunch of equations in the form of a function and you see a table of information, that's likely what they're asking. Let's see how they word it here. So it says the relationship between the monthly rental price R in dollars, monthly rental price in dollars, so just as it's shown in the table, and the property's purchase price P in thousands of dollars can be represented by a linear function. Which of the following functions represents the relationship? So sure enough, they are asking which of these functions represents the relationship between these data points. And this is R for this column here. But what we want to be careful with is the change in units. Here for purchase price, in the table, they have it in dollars, but in the question, they want a relationship that shows purchase price in terms of thousands of dollars. So if we're plugging in values for P to see what we get for our function for R of P for the rental price, that means that here, for example, for 128,000, what we would plug in for P in this, our P values for question number 23 would be just 128 or 176 or 70 or 140 or 450. So we would plug in the P value here is in thousands of dollars. So if the purchase price, for example, is 128, we would plug in, if the purchase price is 128,000, we would plug in 128 for P. So let's test these out. And you can pick any data set that you want. So let's just try this first one. If we plug in a 128 for P, we should get 950 for R of P for that rental price. And let's try that out. If we do 2.5 times 128, that's 320 minus 870. Well, that's a negative 550, so that one doesn't work when we plug in 128 for P. So that means A can't be our answer. All right, let's try that for B. If we do 5 times 128, we get 640 plus 165. That's 805 when we plug in a 120. Closer, but still not it. Let's try answer choice C. If we do 6.5 times 128, we get 832 plus 440 would give us 1272. It's a little too big. Remember, it's supposed to come out to 950 if it works. So it looks like D is going to be our correct answer choice, but let's just confirm here. We do 7.5 times 128. That gives us 960 minus 10. Sure enough, this one comes out to be 950. So it matches the result that we see in the table, and answer choice D would be the correct expression of our function for our monthly rental price in dollars. Now let's take a look at 24. 24 says Townsend Realty purchased the Glenview Street property. Okay, so here for this one, we're talking about the Glenview Street property, this one here, with a purchase price of 140, and received a 40% discount off the original price, along with an additional 20% off the discounted price for purchasing the property in cash. Which of the following best approximates the original price in dollars of the Glenview Street property? So these discounts are made to the original price, not to this amount, right? This was the amount of the purchase price that we see in the table here after the discounts. So here, as an equation for question 24, we would have our original price, and then here, if it's a 40% discount, what's it gonna actually cost? And this is a really important concept that whenever you're dealing with percent change, let's move this down for a quick sec. But when you're dealing with percent change, remember your percent change is always based off of 100% as your original amount. So if you have 40% off, if you subtract 40, what you're left with is 60%. Or another way of expressing that, you could say that that's going to be your original price times 0.60 to account for that first percent change that they're referencing here. And then we've got another discount, an additional 20% off. And remember, same thing with percent change, any change, whether it's a discount or whether it's an increase, like in one of those word problems that deals with interest or taxes or something like that. Here you would have 100%. 20% off means minus 20%. And that means it would now be 80% of what it was before that. We had 100%, now we have 80%. So before we had 100, subtract 20, we've got 80% left. So our original times 0.60 or times 0.80 in its decimal form, meaning 60% of our original and then 80% of that value, that will equal our purchase price. And as we saw in the table up here, our purchase price for this property was $140,000. And what's really important to keep in mind is that purchase price is not the price that you are then going to discount, but that is the discounted price. That is the price after these discounts have taken place. And so here, if you do the math on this, your original price, 0.6 times 0.80 would give you 0.48. And if you did 140,000 divided by 0.48, that's going to give you an original price on this of $291. 666.66 repeating. And we're talking about an approximation here. The best approximation would be $291.7 for that original price of that home that ends up with a purchase price of $140,000 after the 40% and 20% discounts are applied. So the key on that is whenever you have percent change, remember that that discount in this case, sometimes it'll be an increase, but here it's a discount. That discount or that percent change is always made relative to 100%. And to find your new amount, you're multiplying by that remaining amount or that new amount after you have taken off the corresponding discounts, giving us $291.7 for our answer choice of B on question 24. Up next.